A woman has died after a bus crash outside Victoria Station. She was struck by a double-decker during this morning's rush hour.
As I come out, I've seen a few ambulances, loads of police cars, lots of 2 fire engines, a lot of attendants here.
Also coming up, around 70 firefighters are battling a blaze at a block of flats in Wembley, which broke out this afternoon. We'll have the latest for you. A woman has died after being hit by a bus outside Victoria Station just before 9 o'clock this morning. The bus driver was taken to hospital and a third person was treated by paramedics at the scene. A police investigation is underway and the Met says it's working with British Transport Police to establish what happened. Our reporter Thomas McGill has more.
The morning rush hour turned to tragedy after this bus collided with some pedestrians outside Victoria Station. The mangled bus stop just visible, as is the damaged wreck of the number 13, all hidden behind tarpaulin from view.
And as I come out, I've seen a few ambulances, loads of police cars, lots of 2 fire engines, a lot of attendants here. As I came round, I see someone getting wheeled out on a stretcher. I spoke to a few people, I spoke to one of the officers here and they said that someone was struck by a bus.
The emergency services were called just before 9 o'clock. London Ambulance treated 3 people at the scene. One remains in hospital and another, a woman, died at the scene despite the best efforts of paramedics. Well, the Mayor has described what happened here earlier as a tragedy and says his thoughts and prayers are with all those involved. Tonight it's unclear when Terminus Place will reopen, as officers from the Metropolitan Police and British Transport Police remain at the scene, piecing together exactly what happened.
And Thomas is with me. A tragic incident and a police investigation underway. It's not the first time there's been a crash of this nature in this area.
That's right, yes, Riz. Back in 2021, Melissa Burr lost her life as well in the same area after a parked bus actually was shunted into another bus on Terminus Place. Now, that prompted for calls to improve safety in and around Victoria train station in that area. Fast forward to the back end of 2023 last year, and a Freedom of Information request identified that Transport for London were carrying out some essential works to improve pedestrian safety and accessibility. Now, that work started mid-November, lasted 6 weeks, and it meant that this whole area today that was cordoned off was closed for 6 weeks whilst that work was carried out. Now, the Freedom of Information request also gives us an insight into the issues that were identified or the problems in that area, and it says that there was an unconventional layout with confusing road markings, and in some areas there was no curbs or no paving. It also set out concerns with tactile paving in the area and said that there were some concerns with actually accessing the terminal in the first place. So that work was all completed, as I mentioned, just around about Christmas there. Now, whether or not those issues will be re-looked at again in this investigation remains to be seen. But the Met says that the investigation is ongoing and that they're working to inform the next of kin in what is a very, very sad story tonight, Riz.
Right now, though, let's get the latest on a fire that broke out at a block of flats in Wembley a couple of hours ago. 70 firefighters have been battling the blaze. Well, Victoria Hollins joins me now. Vic, what more do we know about this?
Well, we know that London Fire Brigade received multiple calls this afternoon, beginning around 4:42, and it was in Elm Road in Wembley. That's not very far from Wembley Central Station. It appears that this is a residential block, and as you can see, it was really ablaze at one point earlier on this afternoon. I think it is a housing association building of around 120 flats. We know that 10 fire engines are there, around 70 firefighters from at least 4 or 5 different fire stations. London Fire Brigade say that the roof is alight. I've literally just come off the phone from somebody who lives right next door to that block, and they told me that actually it looked initially as though the fire was being put out and brought under control, but it is still raging, we're told. The roof is now alight, and the person I spoke to said it has just spread to a flat on the left-hand side of the picture that we can see now. At the moment, London Fire Brigade say the cause obviously is unknown. It's very early days. Investigations will, of course, continue once the fire has been brought under control, but it's kind of worrying, of course, if you're living in the area. We are not aware of any injuries at the moment, but of course, this is something that we'll keep our eye on in the next few hours or so.